or money that is borrowed. Now I suppose money that's borrowed, that's a little better because as far as I understood it, the country has to sell treasury bonds. So they have to sell treasury bonds to get the money that they need. They borrow money, so it's basically a debt-based system. I think it's healthy for there to be there's times that people and institutions have to carry a little bit of debt, but it's getting to the point now where the government is acting like an irresponsible individual with a credit card. And I say the government also meaning what's tied in with the government, the financial institutions, the Goldman Sachs, the Merrill Lynch's, the whoever else got bailout money, the AIGs. These institutions should have been allowed to fail. And I know people say, well, no, if they would have been allowed to fail, just like if GM would have been allowed to fail, what would have happened? Well, yeah, you would have had to. Again, I'm taking an Austrian view because I think it's an accurate view. I don't think it's just a one-sided view. I happen to think it's a realistic view. Even if the Austrians, if they happen to be off about the gold standard, that's one thing. But I don't, with these practicalities with money, I don't believe they're off. I think it's a realistic view that anybody would have. If these companies are given money, especially if it's created out of thin air, but even if it's borrowed, even though that's a little better, if these entities are given money, bailout money, they receive the money before the rest of us do. They're the first receivers, and as you probably know, that means that they can reap a windfall. If I print up a bunch of money, if I counterfeit it and I give it to you, well, you being the first receiver, you benefit because you can save that money, I suppose, but you can spend it too. And when you spend it, as far as I understand, you're reaping the benefits of having that money before anybody else does. So when you spend that money and it trickles out into the economy, first of all, in the case of it being printed out of thin air, if it is, I mean, that's just putting money into the economy that nobody earned to produce again, and so it's of no benefit to society. And you benefit by being the first person being able to spend that because the market hasn't changed. But I don't know how anybody calculates the trickle-down motion of money as it trickles through the economy. I don't know if there's any way to calculate it accurately and measure it because it might do it on different levels and degrees and areas of the economy. Nonetheless, the people that start receiving that money down the line, they seem to be the ones that get hurt. Like you and me, by the time money like that reaches you and me or whatever as examples, we get hurt by that because we start paying higher prices. That's where, again, I think the Austrians are right. I don't think the Keynesian point of view has proved right. Jonathan Maynard Keynes I know so little about. I thought he wrote a treatise in, I want to say 1936, but don't quote me. Their whole vision, the Keynesians' vision, was that you can create money out of nothing, as far as I've read. And that's where I think that a gold standard comes into play. And if it's not controlled by anything, if it's just monetary currencies that people chose, then I don't think there's anything wrong with that. How we can ever get to that ideal, I have no idea, because you have so many people wanting to control things. But if it would be the case that a gold standard could be implemented and it was a medium of exchange chosen by the people, then I don't see anything wrong with that, because as you know, the country spends way too much money on wars, and even though an economy is ever expanding, people have to realize that you just can't spend money whenever you want when you don't have it. The only way you can spend money is if you have it saved for a rainy day. But the Federal Reserve and central banks across the world don't do that. They spend money whenever they want to. They inflate to spend. They hedge their bets with all wars, that type of thing. They in some cases send money to both sides.